Big news coming up at the bottom of the hour because it just keeps on giving. We're talking about the career of somebody we'll get to. It's the Jelly of the Month Club.
You mean the Boise State quarterback with 9
The
lives?
gift that keeps on giving the whole year, Clark. Something really nice. Prater in the ball game, 208-424-9300. This is when you text a question you would want to ask Jeremiah Dickey, or we'd say, probably won't ask it, but maybe we will, because trust me, we did our homework on this Jeremiah Dickey interview as he makes his way into the rollpaint.com studio. I believe he's parking wherever he's going right now, Prater, but we do have some big topics with Jeremiah Dickey today, and UNLV. We don't have to manufacture this one. This is a big game. This is a big opponent. UNLV has made it that way. I don't have to get on here and be Johnny hyperbole ball game. Say, no, this really is a big game. It feels like you're what Dan Mullen was saying earlier today. I've never even been to the Blue. It's not that big a deal to him. You guys text us. Does this feel like some kind of a rivalry to you, Boise State, UNLV, Jeremiah Dickey in the studio?
By the way, is our first question to Jeremiah when he gets here, is it that he's a bird killer?
No,
we're not going there. I mean, that's what Dan Mullen said. Boise State, that's what they want to kill birds.
Are we going to play that?
Sorry, we'll play it again. We all play it for Jeremiah.
Have you heard that, JD, as we welcome you in?
I haven't, and I apologize, guys. I'm running behind, but no, I'm interested now.
He says if it's on your conscience if you want to kill birds. That's basically what he said.
He bought into the whole, hey, birds land on the blue.
Whole land on the blue, yeah.
And nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Not true, by the way.
Agree. JD, you heard me talking about UNLV week.
Yeah.
That is a thing. And it's another sellout. And there's a buzz. I mean, this is why you're an AD, JD, I would imagine. Weeks like this, sellout.
100%. I mean, this is what you build up towards. Now, I've learned over the course of time here and coming up on 5 years, every game for us is big, right? But it's always it always seems to be we always seem to be someone else's rival, right? We always have that's earned. That was something we inherited, and so I can see where that extra energy is coming from with what UNLV's done over the last couple of years. They've been outstanding. Coach Odom's a great guy, great coach. Did a really good job and obviously parlayed that into something else better for his family. But now look at what Coach Mullen has done, and they're 6-0. And as Spencer said, they're undefeated. We're not. So I think for both teams, there's probably a little bit something to prove.
You inherited Boise State BYU. It's this ongoing, beautiful home series that I don't know anybody who didn't like it. You lost it. It happened, whatnot. A long-term home and home with, say, UNLV, if this is a Pac-12 versus Mountain West thing, could you, are you thinking about that at all? 4, 5, 6, however many long-term home and home with UNLV, keep this thing going.
Yeah, I would love to, I've said it before, I'm big on regionality of college athletics, and obviously we've lost a little bit of that. I think in the Pac-12, that's important to us, and when you look at the teams that have been brought in, I would love to continue some of these, games with Mountain West opponents as we look to the future. Now, there's still a lot ahead of us, and obviously realignment is still taking shape, and we're still football scheduling is always a topic. I know, Prater, you've written about it, and I was just asked this week by someone else in the media about our football scheduling philosophy, and that is something that's top of mind for me. And it's not just UNLV. There are other teams, in the Mountain West that I think that would be of value to them and us, for our fans and for our student athletes and where we recruit. And so that's something that I very much would consider in the future.
I'm a proud graduate of the Jeremiah Dickey scheduling school, by the way. So I appreciate the 90 minutes that you gave me a couple of weeks ago. And, outside of Ballgame, that was a perfect way to ask that question because BYU was a rivalry that was growing. I think UNLV is a little bit different. Yeah, schedule the Wyomings if you have to of the world, but UNLV would be spectacular because exactly what we're seeing this week, the buzz and the excitement about the game. All right, speaking of buzz and excitement, part of that is about the fans. and let's dive right into the issue. You like the way we opened you up with a couple of softballs.
Yeah, softball. Thank you.
Let's we don't want to be the energy vampires that we were
that's
accused of all the time. But let's go back to last Saturday. And Ballgame and I are sitting in the press box, and the first thing he says to me after halftime is the students are gone. And then by the end of the third quarter, the fans were gone. And then you were in the middle of the night, or maybe it was the next morning, a tweet somebody put out there, stud QB commit to social media, stud QB commit on his visit. Half the stadium has failed because of the rain. Got to say, that wasn't a good look from the BSU tweets. And you responded, no, it was not. Extremely disappointing. Fired up, more to come. So many different things to process in that tweet. You took a little shot at Boise State fans, which you've never done, in the interest of getting better. I get it. I get the context. What kind of process did you have going into that before you even put that tweet out?
One, I'm not going to apologize for having high expectations. But I know the standard I hold myself to and my team, and Bronco Nation is elite. You heard Spencer talk about it, and I'm very grateful, and we consistently and constantly celebrate Bronco Nation and our fan base. But I get called out for cold hot dogs, warm beer. At the end of the day, this is a relationship, and there's ownership, and everyone's ownership. And I've said, and I'm not going to apologize for having high expectations for all of the above. I will take my ownership in terms of what we are doing on and off the field of play, and how we are presenting, and how we are serving our staff, our student athletes, our supporters, the foundation that we have, and the platform we have in terms of our community. Those are things that I take very seriously. But it does take a team, and in that response, Prater, that was something that obviously coming out of the game, and I'm watching it happen. And I know there's always a million and one excuses, but I'm not an excuse guy. And I don't think anyone would ever say that Jeremiah makes a lot of excuses. I take my ownership and I go back to work and I figure out what we're going to do. And so, yeah, was I disappointed? Absolutely. It's not intended to be a shot. But my job is to hold people accountable. And my job is to hold us to a higher standard, because I believe in Epic and I believe in that blue. I'm not from Idaho, but I got here as quickly as I could.
Yep.
And I work day in and day out to make sure that blue is the most competitive environment possible, the best possible fan experience. And I think we've lived that out in action. And ultimately, I take my ownership that I have not effectively defined the expectations, that we cannot take winning for granted. We have to continue to push forward. I know what we're up against financially. I know what we're up against our facilities. There's a million and one things that we're playing from behind. But I'm not going to use that as a reason why we shouldn't find success. And so I love Bronco Nation. I'm sorry if they took it as a negative or a shot, but I will recognize things when I see it, and I've done that with myself, and I've done it with my team. And I think Bronco Nation can also attest to that. So I am consistent, and ultimately we did put out a call to action yesterday, and there are some things that we're working through this week to make sure if our expectations are not defined, they will be defined for us. I say that to my team all the time. And we need to hold ourselves to a high standard, because it's not about me. Bronco Nation can, or members of Bronco Nation, I know I also fired up a lot of people too. People can be upset at me. I'm okay with that. I'm learning as a leader. That's okay. My job is to stand in that gap. But my job is also to speak the truth. And my truth right now is the blue is the most important asset in this state. And we represent something bigger than ourselves. And it very much impacts our recruiting, our experience, our revenue, everything that ties into whether or not we have a successful season. And that's something that I'm going to continue to push hard, and we're going to continue to do our part. And whatever that may be, I know there were some comments in terms of different ideas and providing more ponchos and how do we activate the students, and all great feedback. I will always take feedback. I'm not the smartest in the room and I don't know everything, but when I see something that impacts us, and especially in a game, that winning is hard, and sometimes I do think that's taken for granted. Since Spencer came on, we are a top 5 program. We're tied with a bunch at 5th right now. But tied for 5th since November of 23 in terms of number of wins. And those teams that we're competing with are Ohio State and Texas and these blue bloods. And that's a testament to Bronco Nation. And that's a testament to our team and our staff and our student athletes, and how we continue to show up to our very best. And And I felt like in that second half, I know it was late and family weekend, but we have to find reasons to make it a priority, make it important, and because it does impact our team. And you heard Spencer say it in his press conference. You guys were there. It does impact when you come out in a second half and you have recruits and other people. And so, why not speak the truth and let's figure it out and let's unite and let's come together and let's go do something up.
Well said. But this is a problem that's been going on at Boise State for 30, 40 years. They've never had Jeremiah Dickey as a problem solver. So I'm very curious as to what you think you can do in 5 days. We joked yesterday about Alabama having this problem 10 years ago and Nick Saban going on a rant. And all of a sudden, the athletic department assigned an app to the students to kind of track the students. I'm assuming we don't want to do any big brother nonsense like that. What kind of stuff can you do to keep fans, students in the stands starting this Saturday?
So, well, first, I want to say something. Perspective is important, and this is something that I'm a fiery guy, and I hope, God willing, I love Bronco Nation, Prater, and I think you guys know that, and I've been very open about that. Like in any relationship, you have crucial conversations.
Yeah.
And I've taken the last 48 hours and really thought through and I had some important people in my life here, and some are donors and just friends. And said, JD, remember your first game? Like, you didn't have hardly any students, and now we're selling student sections out within 2 hours of those tickets going on sale.
Wow.
Like, it's perspective. Now it's like, all right, we're bar raisers. Now we're selling out those sections. We're selling out 16s. We're on our 12th straight sell, 15 straight win on the blue. Like, we are bar raisers. And so in some ways I had to take a step back and say, all right, there's a lot of positive. It just means it's always what's next. And now back to your question of what else can we do? We have to engage students more. We have to tell that story more. We have to define the expectations, which I felt we did yesterday. We need to do things like that. We need to partner with the Blue and Orange store and get shirts out and really activate so everyone understands we are not going to take this. Blue is important to all of us, and that is something we all represent. And we have a great opportunity this weekend. It's not about UNLV. It's about whoever comes to the blue, we protect the blue. And that is something that's really important. And that's something I inherited. And that's something that, as the athletic director, I'm not going to be shy about. I'm not going to back down from high expectations.
More on this. We have asked the AD with JD, Jeremiah Dickey, in studio, and Boise State, Jeremiah Dickey, now with control of Extra Mile Arena. Bronco Nation, what does that mean for you? Next on KTIK The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio, this is Ticket Traffic.
Not looking bad right now. The earlier problems have all been cleared up. Still seeing some fairly slow conditions, though, trying to get out of downtown Boise, 184 to connect your Curtis through the Y, westbound I-84. Very heavy and slow from Orchard through the Merge. Busy conditions from the Y through the 5-mile overpass. Heavy from Eagle Road through Meridian Road. Also seeing some busy conditions around the Garrity exit.
This review is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the latest fall looks, all for under $30. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at macy'sbackstage.com.
Meridian Plumbing, your trusted local choice since 1985.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Save now with 2 weeks of store-wide savings with Buy Mart's latest savings book. Watch for it in your mailbox. Tillamook bagged beef jerky is priced at $9.99. 33 ounces of U-Man ground coffee is sale price at $12.99. Savory Prime's 32-ounce chicken jerky for dogs is $5 off. Plus, save on everything you need for fall hunting season, including normal whitetail 20-count ammo. It's sale priced at $19.99. Shop and save now at Walmart, where just $5 gets you a lifetime of savings.
It's back and better than ever. The largest car and truck sale in the region, Cars in the Park, this Thursday through Sunday at Lions Park in Ontario, Oregon. If you can hear this message, you're less than an hour from the best car and truck deals of the year. Cars in the Park this Thursday the 16th through Sunday the 19th only. Hundreds of pre-owned cars and trucks from several local dealerships, all in one place for 4 days only. Every make and model with discounts on every vehicle. See dozens of pre-owned cars priced under $10,000, plus hundreds of new cars, trucks, and SUVs from Ford, Ram, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Subaru, all on sale, priced for immediate liquidation. Folks, if you're even thinking about a vehicle purchase in the next year, this is your chance to save big and shop hundreds of models, new and used, all in one place. Lenders on hand for immediate financing approval, food and refreshments available, and one lucky customer will win a pre-owned Ford F-150 truck just for registering. Hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles, all on sale, all in one place for 4 days only. Cars in the Park this Thursday through Sunday at Lions Park in Ontario, Oregon.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
They say defense wins championships. Prater and the Ballgame say the best defense is a good offense.
Time for a chance to win another $1,000 right from KTIK. Text the word SAVE. Jeremiah Dickey, SAVE Bronco Nation to 95819. SAVE to 95819. Thank you. Further Tight Roofing. Ask the AD with JD in studio. Boise State Director Jeremiah. It's been fun, man. We got you on a good. We did get you on a good week. You couldn't get out of this. Not that you would.
No, I would.
Extra Mile Arena.
Perfect track record since you started this about 6 months ago.
Yeah,
love it. Extra Mile Arena is now in control of Jeremiah Dickey and Boise State University. What does this all mean, JD?
It's huge. That was the biggest announcement we had last week. It ties into a strategy that we've had since the day we arrived. My job is to identify assets, we monetize it, and that funds the department. The goal is still a sustainable model, but now every year it changes, right? There's compensatory alignment, there's rev share, cost of doing business has gone up, and when you look at the assets, and this is a shout out to Bronco Nation, we are selling tickets. We are selling out every game. We are selling out season tickets in basketball. We're not there yet this year, but we will get there. And so the goal is to add more assets. That was a big part of our decision on North End Zone facility. That's a big part of why I'm being public on East Side of the Stadium, premium space, and Extra Mile. But when you look at Extra Mile and ultimately how that was set up, and it's not to, it is what it is. Many schools had it set up this way, but for us to rent the facility, it costs us money. For us not to necessarily have the ability to monetize Extra Mile like maybe other schools are doing, for example, Bronco Sports Property and some of the assets that they have in there, or sharing in the sponsorship with Extra Mile. And we can't thank them enough, John Jackson. And you look at concession sales, every dollar counts, and we didn't necessarily get the concession sales. And so those are important pieces when you look at what's next for us in Extra Mile. How do we add more premium space? The auction was not controlled by athletics. Even though basketball's used it, it was controlled by Extra Mile. It's not to say that we weren't working well together. It's not anything negative towards that crew. They've been awesome. It's how do we get everything under one umbrella so we can effectively unite and monetize at a completely different level. That means driving more of potentially events. That means potentially opening up opportunities for volleyball to play in there. That means saving our dollars so we're not renting the facility so we can invest in them differently. Opening up new sponsorship assets. It's having consistency with the concession
Hanging
experience.
jerseys in the rafters.
Yeah, I've heard heard a lot about that.
Come on.
Yeah,
Indeed.
but you also look at, when you have a divided front like that, and everyone inherited that. So, EMA staff, our staff, like it's not like we set this up. But you play the hand you're dealt. Now we get to play it a little bit better. How are we going to invest in video boards? How are we going to invest in LED boards? How are we going to create a better experience and hang, jerseys in the rafters and whatever else? New lighting systems. Everything is similarly to what we've done in Albertson Stadium. We want to create the best possible fan experience. That's where I'm so passionate about people showing up early and staying late and being loud because it matters to the overall experience. And I understand what we represent. And so it's coming from a place of love, and accountability. And now with Extra Mile underneath, I never say I or my, but my umbrella, it allows us to really go to work on what else can we do in that space. We have this Lyle Smith room and you have the press room. Can we utilize the Ox Gym differently? Can we create a much larger space? We're about to hit 300 Lyle Smith members.
Wow.
And so, we have made so much progress. This is the next step, the next iteration, and this is where it becomes epic. And now there are no excuses that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing or that it's a divided front. Now it's under one leadership and collectively as a team, because it takes a team, we're going to do something epic in Extra Mile.
Okay, so I need you to explain to me exactly what that is. And having previous conversations with you that kind of extend based on the conversations we had about Saturday night, you get frustrated by and I think you're down to 300 or 400 lifetime seats now. It's a pretty small number. The corporate seats that aren't used, the lower bowl that looks empty all the time. That drives you crazy. You want every seat taken. You want complete and total efficiency. So I have a feeling you're about to blow up the seating plan Extra Mile over the next couple of years and reconfigure that thing, figure out the lifetime members, figure out the corporate seats, figure out the premium seating. What can you do to actually get stuff done, and how are you going to juggle these fans and their lifetime seats and the long-term seats, not just the lifetime seats? And I guess the real quick question before I answer that is the timeline. East side of Albertson Stadium or Extra Mile Arena, which comes first?
Yeah, I look at it as 1A, 1B. It may be Extra Mile because of cost. It may be east side of the stadium because of timing, and we're still in this transitional phase of there's a lot to be determined in regards to bringing EMA on.
Okay.
And so there's still a lot of work ahead of us, and that's something that I'm very much in the weeds on. But lifetime seats, that's a good example. That was something that was done in the 80s, and there was a term, and then we kept forward with it. And some of those lifetime, they absolutely come. I know who they are, and then some don't come, and that hurts the experience. So just like we're trying to do a better job of being bar raisers, and it's like, all right, we're filling stadiums, we're selling tickets. What's next? What's next is the importance of attendance, the importance of getting off your seat, standing up, being loud, impacting that game. I go to Utah State, and I'm like, wow, like that. Why can't we do that? It's not like in my mind, it's like we absolutely can, and we got to go to work and figure it out.
That would be sweet.
And so you look, and I'm constantly looking at the pit. Excuse me, the pit. I know that they have a great crowd, and it's like I believe so much, guys, in what this place can do. And I look at a place like Extra Mile that I don't care what time we play, who we're playing, that we make it the most competitive environment possible. Obviously, sportsmanship's important, but the most competitive environment possible because it does impact those kids, and it impacts recruiting, and it impacts the experience of the people in that facility, and it impacts our sponsorships, and it impacts our revenue, and now we're sharing revenue. Everything counts, everything matters, and it's tied to a greater plan. And now our team gets to go to work together on figuring out how do we elevate that experience in Extra Mile. I think we've done a good job, and I'll always say good because you guys know how my mind works. Like, what's next? And I don't think we're perfect by any means, but I think we've done a really good job over the last 5 years, selling tickets and creating a better experience. And, I think that's been really cool, but that becomes the new, the foundation. And it's like, how do we take it a step further? And a lot of that ties into the students. How do we drive more students? A lot of our games are over holidays, and that's hard, and everyone deals with that. But when we're in conference, like, what does that look like? How do we get the 5,000 students that we have at football at basketball, and for it to be a priority? That's not on them. That's on us. Now, there's ownership. Like, we need them to show up, but we have to provide opportunities. We have to engage with them differently. We have to activate them. We have to communicate differently. Me and Leon in this case for basketball and Gordy, we got to figure out how to get them more involved. And I know our team's working on that. And that's what excites me. We talked a few weeks ago about this puzzle in my mind. That's what it is. I want to perfect this. I want it to be elite across the board, and it's a goal. Like, I don't want any complaints. Not saying we're going to be perfect, but like that's my goal, and like I want to perfect this, and that's how I approach everything. How can we make it better? And that's what really excites me about Extra Mile. How do we make that better for our student athletes as we go into the Pac-12? And it's going to be an elite basketball conference. So when you think about Utah State and Colorado State, and there is no night off. And so whether we're playing on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock or a Saturday at noon, like we need to pack the X and we need to make it a priority because we are not just a one point. This isn't a race. Like we are 18 sport programs, 360 plus student athletes, and I believe in epic across the board for all of them. And you come to Boise State to compete for championships, and we all have ownership in that.
Jeremiah Dickey asked the AD with JD. We do theater of the mind. We paint pictures in radio. I want you to paint a picture for our listeners for Bronco Nation right now of the Extra Mile Arena you would ultimately vision people walking into in, I don't know, 2, 5, 8, 9 years when you're able to say, that was my vision. What is that?
So first and foremost, from outside, we need to do something with our facade. It is a great facility. I mean, when you're inside, it doesn't look like it was built in 1984 or whatever it was. And so it's withstood time. But I think we need a refresh of sorts outside. And I think we need to have grand entrances, and really acknowledge our community in those entrances. I think about, if you've been to Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta and we walk in, they have that helmet wall of all the high schools, and we've done some cool things in Stickle. But like, what does that look like to recognize the people that we represent in those grand entrances? Can we do more with Extra Mile and have the grab and goes and those type of things? And this is before you even get into the stands and really open up some of those concourse spaces and identify new assets from a sponsorship standpoint, but things that are going to engage people. And then once you get into the stadium, when you look at behind the team benches, what does it look like to have a club level at concourse level that has club seats and loge boxes and provides that a different level of experience and still keep the majority of our capacity. That's a very large stadium for us. It helps in terms of special events. But I also think around the country, you look at Baylor and some of these other facilities, most of them do not have 12,000 seats.
Yeah.
That can be a competitive advantage for us. But when you think about adding club seats and loge boxes and wider seats, maybe our capacity goes a little bit down, but I think that provides an experience that obviously Extra Mile has never had. And how does that tie into us continuing to drive? We're going to get past 10,000 donors, but then, as you know, the next step is 15,000 donors. And making sure that we continue to push this thing forward, create that sustainable model that we are going to effectively not just serve our staff, student athletes, supporters, but compete for championships nationally. And that's the vision I have.
We could be here for an hour. We have to figure out a way to get an hour out of your schedule as opposed to just 30 minutes. By the way, did you notice that we usually cram you in for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
We took a break and still 30 minutes of your time.
That's
this time.
okay.
Next time
I
you
have
come
more
back,
time.
it'll be 45 minutes. And after that, it'll be an hour. By the way, real quick, speaking of special events and Extra Mile Arena, any chance, yes or no, that the NCAAs come back here one day? I know we've asked you that before, and you've always said anything is possible.
There's a chance. We put in the bids. When I got here, and I inherited a situation where obviously I think we lost the tournament because of COVID. Is that right? Yes. And then for whatever reason there wasn't a bid put in at that point, probably because of COVID and maybe transition to BD, whatever it was. So that excuse, but I don't think it was intentional. And then we have put in bids. And that's something that Nate and our team, and Lisa and Ime, we would love to have that. I just saw San Diego State got it, and that would be something that I know is part of the fabric of this community and some of the memories that people have. So I'm never going to say never. That is a goal to try, not just in basketball, but anything that's like sponsors for a championship to drive them to Boise. I think that helps in terms of our value
In terms of the political situation in the NCAA, those aren't hurdles anymore? You think
No.
those are clear?
No, and it seems like, at least coming out of this last process, that they were leaning on, as they do their rotation. Obviously, Final Fours football stadiums. You're seeing more football stadiums get involved because they can pack more people in there. And then obviously we're navigating NBA facilities. It's just is what it is. Like it definitely isn't politics. It's how big is your facility?
All right.
What type of experiences you can provide, making sure you can accommodate everything. And I feel like we check a lot of those boxes. And I definitely believe when we start upgrading and doing some of the things that I envision us doing in Extra Mile, that it will open up doors for us. And we're going to be prepared to walk through them.
Jeremiah, appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. And Bronco Nation, I absolutely love you. I love you.
Yes.
I love the shots. It's not a shot. I love your response was, I'm never going to apologize for expectations, high expectations. I'm going to steal that one and use it on my family a lot, if you don't mind. But I think it was good. And I love the fact, I didn't agree with you, but your tweet with the RJ Keene situation a couple weeks ago, you got out there in public, you had a stance, you were bold, you were clear, you were decisive, you had a point. And I thought it was really good that you did that. There was something else you did about 2 months ago. And I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here. We got to go, but we call it harsonitis around here.
Yeah.
Getting frustrated because high expectations aren't being met, and then all of a sudden somebody steals your emails and it's public, and all of a sudden it gets a little squirrely. You said something about 3 months ago. You were frustrated about something. I can't remember what it was. A couple of weeks ago, you said that. This weekend, you said that. I think it's good. There's an athletic director out there who's willing to push his opinions, to be transparent, and give thoughts that maybe not everybody's comfortable with getting. And sometimes messages of importance don't always have to be comfortable.
No, I appreciate you saying that, and I'm not sure everyone appreciates me doing it. But no one said being a leader was going to be hard. And, ultimately, I know that the position I have, the hat I wear, and what it represents. And I can't live with myself. I don't sleep very much, anyways. But I can't sleep at night if I know I'm not giving 100%.
Just stop killing birds, will you? As you drive home, we'll play the Dan Mullen soundbite. You can listen to it. Stop killing birds, Jeremiah.
Yes, I will work on that. I appreciate you guys. Go Broncos.
Ask the AD with JD, KTIK, the ticket.
This is Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and the Ballgame, brought to you by Roping.